Okay, I have been glazing for hours, I've got most things glazed, and I've done glazing videos before, so I think if you're interested in seeing how we glaze things for detail and much more expertise, you should probably look back at past videos, not just me, but other people as well. But I just thought, since it's a glazing video, I should at least show you how I'm glazing one of these as well, since we've done the fish. So I am just putting base coats on at the moment, because I plan on doing a lot of sponging, scraping, painting by hand. And all I've been doing with these chickens is basically putting on a coat, making sure the inside I got a coat of a glaze that's actually food safe. And whenever you glaze, you should make sure that you don't have any debris in your piece. So I simply, let's get this out of here, hold it sideways going in, so the glaze goes inside, turn it vertical, shake it up and down, and that gets the glaze all the way inside as well as on the outside. Taking it all the way down, and then I have some strontium crystal magic glaze, which I've done videos on before, and I'm just going to dip down the upper part in the strontium crystal magic. Still dripping, but I'll bring it over for you to see. So I got two coats of oatmeal and strontium crystal magic on the top, just to give the oatmeal a little variation. And of course now I'm going to be tomorrow glazing details and such. So, but there you go, that's one of the chickens. I'm going to try glazing with some sort of sensitivity to the form, by doing 2 or 3 day glazes at different angles. So let me show you how I've got random glazes that I'm going to just kind of dip at sort of angles, making sure that they're all given a stir so that they aren't watery on the top. One of the big problems that a lot of people new to glazing have is that their glazes settle out. I just stirred this one up, and then you're dipping into a pile of water on the surface of the glaze, which soaks the clay before it dips into the glaze, so make sure you always stir them. So what I'm going to start with is give this one a bit of yellow on the wing area. Before I give it a big swipe. Actually, no, I think I'll pour this one a little bit on the inside. Making sure not, because we know these are going to be tricky to pour. Let's see if it pours. Yes, it does. So it doesn't dribble over the sides when you're pouring. That's what you've got to be careful of when you cut down a form like this. But there it's pouring just nicely. Make sure your hands are clean. Now I'm going to give it a dip all the way down in this glaze, which I just call number 16. It's just a sort of speckly, shiny grey black. Alright, so then we've got yellow here, a different colour on the inside with this shiny black on the outside. But now I'm going to try, as it dries, because I know I've got only glaze on the sides, it's only single glazed on the back and the front. I've got a deep green here. I'm going to give it a quick swipe on the front there and on the back. And as long as I don't dip too thickly, I still could put another glaze if I wanted to, just on the cone area there, but I can do that tomorrow. So basically, I think what I will do is I'll do a little bit of blue though. Show you where my blue is. I got blue over here, so I'm just going to dip it again, not quite down as far as I did the yellow. But we've got several layers of glaze on this piece. Oh, I got a run there, so I'll have to paint something in tomorrow. Be careful, because they run down real quick, especially when you're doing many glazes like that. The clay gets saturated. This piece, this is the simplest part of glazing that I do. This one's all blue at the moment. So I am going to give it a swipe, and I just stirred these up of variegated blue just by dipping the front. So I give it a bib, and then I'm going to do a swipe of the variegated blue on the on the oatmeal on the back. So we've got, if you can see that, because that's only a little paler than the actual blue. And then the green, which I just stirred up, is for the wings. I put this in a dish so I can kind of be a bit more accurate. And I'm just hitting the tail a little bit with the green as well, which I don't mind. That will probably be quite nice. So that's, if I wanted to, that is what I refer to as the basically, you know, simplest form of glazing that I can do. I could also do that little comb maybe there and just do a little dab. So this is just dipping. So this is the simplest form of sponges that have all these textures on them. So we can actually do that if we're careful anyway. So I'm just going to do what I did to the last one. I'm going to give the front of him a little bit of green. Just got the bib, green. I'm going to do the tail with some oatmeal. So I did oatmeal down the tail. And then I got the variegated blue, which I'm going to put on the wings, just from dipping. It's a little harder when you've got buckets and you're dipping, so you should try to be a little careful about runs. So we've got basically, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4 areas of color. Now, just using a square stamp, this is just sponge, basically, you know, and it's, if I'm very light, I can just dab down with this yellow and give myself a little yellow down there. And I don't know, this is all guesswork what it's going to do. Let's add some to the comb itself, but it means you can be a little bit more controlling with your colors with using a sponge. Now, if I had a large smooth area on this, I would actually use a pattern stamp, and that would give me some patterns. Now I can just kind of see how I'm able to control where the glaze goes. Quite well, you know, it's actually, I'm trying to, you know, show you, so I could be a little bit more careful if I was doing this on a wheel too, but we've got some areas of yellow now. The eyes I'm not quite sure yet, so I think I'll paint those just with a paintbrush later on with another glaze. But I think we've got quite a bit of color on that one. Actually, you could go with another bit down there. Remember, you can overdo things. But and down the oatmeal, I could actually just do another yellow down there. But so that is how to do that. And then just quickly, this stamp, I'm not sure if it will work because there's not really that much areas to work. But okay, I'm going to dab this sponge in my green. So we've got green there. Let's see what it does. Wow, look at that. Now, will it show up after the firing? Turn it around. So now contrast would be everything here, and I'm not sure if this green is actually contrasty enough to show up there. But that's if you make these sponges out of you just buy a car washing sponge and then cut it up into pieces and use a soldering iron to melt in between, create patterns. And of course, you do it outside because the fumes would probably be really toxic. Okay, so basically what we've got is a whole bunch of ways of putting glaze on, like dipping, sponging, slip trailing. But you can also, using a scraper, and do this over somewhere, which I'm not going to do right now because I don't have anything ready, but you can scrape glaze off. So basically, I've got several layers of glaze here, and I'm just scraping some off to show the clay that's right there, and that will help basically have the texture in the actual wing there show up better. So it's just a matter, and then you've got to really be careful, mop the floor if you're doing this on the floor, but do it over a table. There we go. So it basically just will help that. It'll look really textural now and all that. So dipping, sponging, and that sponge, of course. You've got your yellow, whatever pattern you're doing, you can, so you can see here. So you can texture, you can add, this has got yellow on it already, so it won't show up as well. But you can actually go back to just painting down the front here. You know, I've got some brown here, so I can just kind of do some marks, dots. So back to painting, highlight the edge there. So the wing itself, maybe you can just go back and put a little bit back into the wing there, down there. I mean, this is just painting, so. But you really can spend a long time on some of this stuff. But basically that's the, you know, trying to make some pieces that look a little bit special. So I'm looking forward to seeing these when they come out of the kiln too. Okay, just as a sample, it's easy to look at. I just mixed up my black to show you what this could look like. And I don't know if this will be a nice piece because of this or not. This is black on dark blue because I don't want it to look terrible. And okay, showing what you can do with a sponge stamp with glazing. Now if I go in here with white and do that, that might be interesting. Okay, I've mixed my white up, so the same stamp. I'm just going to try to offset it slightly. Let's get it the right way around. Yep, that's it. So I'm going to offset just a touch. Oh, I dribbled it. Yeah, this glaze doesn't flow off as easily. Some glazes just flow better than others. This one seems like it's dripping a lot. But I can do it. Oh, let's tilt this down a bit so you can see. So I'm trying not to press. But anyway, I've got black and white sponged with this. This isn't my style of stuff, but I'm going to see what it looks like. Just a good experiment. Now I'm using a slip trailer just to kind of do a little squiggle it because it was missing, the stamping was missing. So I'm just going to make a little squiggle spiral type thing in the middle of each. So this is an experiment. And this glaze is running too, but then the glazes will run in the firing anyway. So nothing stays where you put it anyway. But anyway, we've got what might be a mess. Okay, here's a little thing that I do all the time with slip trailing, and I may have shown this on videos before. It's actually slip trailing without it working. Just doing lines, defining edges of pieces, and that's using the green, and this is the cranberry. Let's make sure this is working. Yeah, that's working beautifully. So I'm just doing lines at the edges of some glaze edges to one color to another. So you've seen this on pieces that I've done when I've unloaded the kiln before, but I thought I'd quickly show you that in case I haven't shown it before, since we're doing a glaze tutorial. this is an oxidation gas firing at temperature peaked at 2180, which seemed a bit low, but the cones were over. So let's have a look at what we've got. I put the camera a little closer this time because last time it seemed like it was far away. This took a day and a half to cool down. This kiln takes a while to cool down, so because it's a big kiln. So let's see if we can lower this down a bit so you can see a little. There you go, that's about all of it. There, let's get you close for a second so you can actually see the whole thing inside. Okay, so here's an overall look. Looks like it's actually in pretty good shape. I don't see any disasters up the front here. So you never know with a kiln, of course. So, all right, so what do we have? Chickens. Let's have a look at the cones. I have 2 sets of cones. Top and bottom looks pretty close. I'd say that was a full cone 6. I don't think it went up any higher than 6. I never put a guard cone in. I'm just pretty good about watching my kiln, basically. So here we have yellow. This is the yellow matte that I have. It's a semi-matte. It's actually got quite a nice sheen to it. And it's just a mason stain yellow, basically. Glaze base with mason stain in. But there's one of the chickens. This was a rooster because it's got the double tail at the back. So there we go. Number 1. What about the other rooster? It's looking pretty good. I mean, bottom, no runs. So this looked like, I was glazing quite heavy with a lot of these. So what do we have under here anyway? We've got the turquoise matte glaze with variegated blue over the top. Look how it ran down there though. Very close. That was pretty good. Now when I'm doing all my double, triple dipping and stuff, I always do it on the upper part because I know if I do the bottom I'm going to get runs, and it was close on that one. Here's the gray and the green. This is that mouse gray in cone 6 mastering cone 6. Look how it ran down the green off the wing all the way down and almost touched the bottom. I soaked this for about 40 minutes. The gas kiln always needs a bigger soak because it's a bigger mass to actually even out the heat, but it was very even firing and all that. Oh, the sun just went in. Anyway, I think you can still see it. Wow, this one really ran. And I expected it because I was glazing, but because it's on my new shelves, it doesn't stick to the kiln shelf. I just have to sand off the batt wash there. These are the Advancer kiln shelves. This was a lot of glaze on this piece with the oatmeal. I just posted the video of the actual glazing. And in fact, no, I didn't. I recorded it. That's right, and I've got it in there, but I haven't actually downloaded it yet. So I'll probably put photographs of these at the end of that video. This one looks interesting because it's the Tenmoku Gold. Look how that's kind of flecked, and on the same on the other side as well. Tenmoku Gold works in both kilns. Some of my brown glazes, the Tenmokus don't, because they've got too much iron in them, and iron is a flux in reduction. And this one is, I don't know if I call this a rooster or not. I think he's got a bigger tail, so maybe. But that's got my oatmeal on with my yellow stamped and the green. I mean, a bit of everything basically. Some of this one I fired on stilts. This is blue, and I'm not sure which brown I use. Oh, I think I used tomato. The tomato red doesn't fire red in this kiln. It needs that firing where you slow down at 1750 and soak for an hour. So I may, if some of these don't look as red as I was hoping, I may refire them in my electric kiln. Although this one looks pretty good. Look at the back with that sponge. I showed you that sponge, and that held. So that's interesting. I wasn't sure that would hold out. This is a nice one. Sort of oatmeals and the yellow. See how the yellow held there as well on the front? So I think that was a good one to use over the top of the oatmeal. This is my old oatmeal because I mixed so much of it. I've got to use that up before I remix the semi-matte oatmeal that I just did a video on. And my turquoise on the bottom as well. Here's another one that ran, so I'm going to just sand off the edge a little bit there. This is Tenmoku Gold, and look at the wing with the green. So I basically just have to slightly sand the bottom of these because I don't mind the run. I just don't want to have the roughness of the actual batt wash on it. But that's a nice one with Tenmoku Gold on the green over the turquoise at the bottom. This one, I think, was the tomato red again. And there's some stamping and blue on the actual wing there. The brown does not go that red. I was hoping these would be redder than this, because they do usually have a little bit of red in them. But you really do need a firing that cools and stays about 1750 for an hour. The green worked really good. And this is a gas kiln, remember, where greens tend to go red a little bit. But so that's a nice one, but it's just the greens. Now this is how you pour with these. You hold it like this. This is why I designed these, and you just do that. So that's why I think these are really cool. You actually, it's ergonomically, your wrist just does that. So this one's nice. The colors all held really well. It's hard to know when you're glazing with multiple glazes like I was doing earlier in the video. But that one turned out very nice. And here's another of the green, and look at the back, that stamp held up a little bit there. No stamp, it's a foam sort of sponge. But and it held up at the front as well. So that's a nice piece. Always surprises in a kiln firing after this much time. This is variegated blue with the oatmeal over it, and a little bit of the cranberry as well. Here's some of my regular bowls. I showed this in the video too, doing the slip trailing with the glazes. This is one I do with the chopsticks, so I've got the little place here where I do the chopsticks across, but the same glaze oatmeals over the blue, variegated blue oatmeal and bright blue. That is one of the good ones, I think. This was one I didn't try much with. I should have done more in this color combination. It's basically my green oatmeal over the yellow. It turned out quite nice. It's like a sunny bowl. So many glazes and so little time. Another one of those. This one ran down a little bit there, surprisingly. I wonder if that was a green. But this one, another one of the noodle bowls. Here's one I did the stamping with the sponge. It held, but I didn't expect this to be that interesting, and I don't think it is. But the green held up on the outside. It'll be the stamping with sponges depends on the glazes you use. Some will actually have good contrast, of course. This is the one I wiped the glaze off the wing. Here's the fish in the paper clay. It is so light, really a light piece. And I think it stayed pretty flat. Do I see any curling in this? Not much curling in this one. So sometimes when you do flat tile pieces, of course, tiles warp and bend, but this paper clay, it's very light. I'm wondering about its durability, and for a decorative piece like this, it's not a problem. But if I was making something out of it that was going to get sort of dinged and banged, I think it might break easily. In fact, my wife broke a frame yesterday while she was glazing with it. Just by holding it, it just snapped. And this is actually under a 1/4 inch thick too, so that's why one of the reasons why it's so light. Chickens again. Nice cranberry glaze held up. There you go. That's how you pour with them. And this is the green matte turquoise. No, what did I call that glaze? Anyway, I'll look it up later on. But that one turned out very nice. I like the oatmeal on this one as it ran down. Got to remember to use more oatmeal, I think, when I do these next time. Oh, the sun just faded, so now it looks a little better. And here's one with the, oh, that's got some nice textures on the back there. Oh, there's a little run, I'll have to grind that down. That's one of my favorites, actually. I like that one. In the sun, it's hard to tell. I'll have to look at these when I photograph them later on. Another one where the oatmeal, the brown is definitely kind of blah in this kiln. So some of these, I don't know if I'll refire this one because it's kind of nice anyway. But some of them I definitely will refire. I've noticed that for some reason my tenmakus in the electric kilns that work fine just don't work as well in the gas kiln. And that's because the iron is a bigger flux. And the waxing brown does not work at all in the gas kiln. I think that even has 15% iron, which is probably why. The Tenmaku Gold, I think, only has 10% iron. That's a nice one. I like that one. That's a nice mug. I used my yellow oatmeal on the top of that one. That kind of worked well. I do this little slip threading thing. Somebody ordered some of these. This one that I definitely will be refiring because that brown is just dead. In the gas kiln, in the electric kiln, I think that should come out more red. We'll see. Maybe it won't since they've already been fired once. But these two that I did, this mouse gray with the yellow oatmeal, I think they look nice. So the fish are going in the next firing. And this one is the one I showed rubbing the glaze off too. Kind of gives it that kind of glow in the center there. Actually, I liked. Should have done that to more of them. Some teapots in the bottom of this kiln. That's how I fire them again, with the stilt on thing. Little bird lid. Let's see if it still fits in the teapot. Yeah, did so. This has a shallow little rim on it, so I didn't put a hole in there because I know it won't actually push the liquid down. That is variegated blue with the oatmeal, and that's kind of got some nice scalloping type running there. Another evidence of the brown looking blah. I am definitely gonna, I'll use my small kiln and refire these. But, and another chicken in brown. That's kind of nice. It looks, I don't know. I'm not sure what to think about that one. Got some red showing up in the cranberry glaze on it. So maybe that one would be fine just to leave it. Yeah, I don't know. It even has some hints of red in that one. Anyway, that one might be an acceptable. More of the blue. This is a very popular coloring that I do, which is why I have so many of them. I even have a large version of it. And this chicken turned out nice. Got a good color variation in the back there. And some more brown. Well, I am definitely going to test fire these. I might put one in my little test kiln and do the Randy's Red firing schedule on it and see what happens. The blues held up, which is in a gas kiln. The blues always go darker, but they have held up, although not as nice as if I did this in the electric kiln. And this is Tenmoku Gold. That one's quite nice. So that one will be fine. In the sun, it looks really good. Oh, I think I found my favorite chicken. This one's very nice. I think we found there's always one. It just seems like whenever you unpack a kiln, there's always one piece. I think that one turned out very good. I may have to do a whole batch of things using these colors. This is actually the yellow with my regular green, and then I'm not sure what I dipped over the back there and over there. I think it was just the blue and all that. So yellow, green, and blue. But that one turned out very nice. Yep. This is that Tenmoku Gold with the oatmeal. So that one turned out very nice. That's why I say 10% Tenmoku iron in the Tenmoku Gold seems to work really good and keep some nice colors. I don't do a lot in green, and that one is a nice green bowl. Yeah, that's got some nice colors in there. Yeah, I don't use green enough, I think. So very beautiful in the sun there too. This one ran quite a bit. I'm gonna have to grind this one. Look at that sharp point on there that run down, just formed a tiny little point. But anyway, I can grind that one, I think, but because actually it's a really nice teapot. So I'll have to grind the bottom of that one a little bit. Would have been better off. Actually, it's a good job I fired it on stilts because the glaze ran quite a bit. Look at that down the front there. It's gorgeous. Just has to have a little bit of grinding. Another chicken. And now it's in the brown, so do I think it's... I don't know. I'll try a test kiln firing Randy's red with one piece and see how it looks. And if it looks good, then I'll fire all these again. Because it's not bad. This one's actually okay, I think, but it could be so much nicer if this had been red, like the Rhode Island red chickens. There's a little teapot in blue. That blue held pretty well even in this kiln. I don't like the oatmeal. I think would have been better in the electric kiln, because this oatmeal is sort of cream, but in the electric kiln it's sort of creamier, and in this kiln it sort of comes out more white. So that might be a refire on that one too. It's got the Tenmoku gold that's really nice on the bottom, and this kiln cools slowly. That's why you've got good Tenmoku golds in it. Stilts come out real easy sometimes. That's variegated blue with the oatmeal. That's pretty good. These are keepers, I think. And this lid, obviously another teapot somewhere. Okay, now these are for my garden. There's nothing, it's because I mentioned, I think, I'm not sure if I did or not, but I weed whack a lot of my plants by accident. So I'm making these to go into the soil to protect the newer bushes, the little seedlings, so the bush will grow out of these. And then when I hit that with the weed whacker, it's not going to destroy the plant. And speaking of which, I know I weed whacked one last night. So, but anyway, these are all for the garden. There's a lot of them. These will look pretty. These will be pretty in the garden with a bush coming out of. It's almost like a little vase in your garden. So, and especially if I trim them so that you can still see these. So we'll have these in the videos of the garden later on. But that yellow is really nice over the speckle. See, it's got a nice shine to it. I call it semi-matte yellow, but it's pretty shiny. So, and this one is really nice. This was fired inside that piece, almost like a saga, and it really worked out nice. Tenmoku gold, oatmeal, and green. And look at the variegated blue over the back there. That is very pretty. The wind is coming up. That was another one fired, and then this was fired inside it. It's actually really quite shiny. I wonder if the saga has protected it from the flame of the gas kiln. And here's another one. I'm going to have to grind this one because this ran. But they lift right off the shelf because of the actual Advancer shells with bat wash on. But that's Tenmoku gold. Not many flecks in this one though. But the front is very pretty. And that one pours nicely. It's got a blue interior as well. So, but I do have to grind the bottom of this one. Another one of those very large balls. Another chicken. This is very pretty, although it's got a little run there that I'll have to grind a bit. Not much on that one though, but you can see the runs were coming down. But the Tenmoku gold does not have the flecks, so that's interesting. But really nice definition where the carving was. Look at the Tenmoku Gold. There's so much happier with Tenmoku Gold. Yep, I think that tells me not to use tomato red in this firing unless I do a guided cooling cycle. This one's quite nice. I have no idea what I did for a glaze. I think it's the tomato red, but so much of the other glaze is over it that it made it better. So, because that's got variegated blue and oatmeal. Do I have the lid for this one? It might be this lid. Yeah, I think that's the lid for this one. But that worked out as a nice teapot. This is the lid here. The little props fall right out. This is a fairly nice teapot. The oatmeal stayed very white on it. I was expecting it slightly creamier as a teapot. What did I put on the top there? Oh, I know what I had on there. There was fake ash dipped on the top of this one. It didn't do much as far as the fake ash. I was expecting it to sort of run down into the oatmeal a little bit, but it didn't. This one is the fake ash, and this one did actually affect the oatmeal. No, this had strontium crystal magic on it as well. So there you go. That always enhances the other glazes, it seems. So the strontium crystal magic was dipped first, then the oatmeal over the top, and the fake ash was dipped up from underneath. So that's interesting. I like that. That one turned out nice. I almost feel like I should have just done it with this next one I will. Strontium crystal magic and oatmeal without the stuff on the bottom there, but it's still okay. Well, I have a little grinding on this one, but that's a very nice teapot. Just a little grinding on the bottom. There's a little bump there. But that's very nice. I like the way that ran down. It matches up a lot of tea bowls you've seen in all earlier videos. And a little carving highlights too. Did it oval? I don't think it ovaled. Do I have a lid for this guy? As much. The lid was in the other one. Thank goodness that one fits, because that was a good teapot. Okay. So this was basic. There's a little bit more running in this kiln than but that is beautiful. Look at the gloss on there. That is just really, really nice. But almost no flecks in this glaze. Oh, on this side there is. So which side was, I should have noted which side was closest to the flame. Just to confirm about Tenmoku Gold, this is so pretty. The Tenmoku Gold is very pretty. So I'm going to repack this kiln, so I'm leaving the back shelves in. That is the tomato red. Let's see if you can see it. I don't know if this will show up, but do you see how it's got a nice surface quality, but it just isn't. Oh, there you go. Oh, no. You see the red there? It's more of a yellow there, but it's got a nice textural mottling in the brown. So that's what all this brown stuff is looking like, and I'm not as happy. I'm going to refire. But there's the Tenmoku Gold, really, really gold. So this one must be for this piece. Yes, it is. So basically we do have a lid for that one, which means there must be another teapot. This is that fake ash glaze, which I'm having problems with, and I just poured a whole pile of gum arabic in the glaze, and it's working better now. Because the glaze was flaking off, but it's supposed to do that. But basically, when I was glazing them, the glaze would just flake right off the piece. The gum arabic, I put about $15 worth in there, and it's really holding the glaze to the pot now. More of my things for the garden. You'll see these in future videos. This is a very nice chicken. Take this off. Sometimes you really have to hammer these. See, it's still stuck with one prong. So I may have to, just have to grind that just a touch. But I like the carving in that one. The brown, nice color brown over the yellow. That got to remember that yellow with brown over. Actually, see how that's really pretty. So I'm going to make a note of this brown, which I think is the tomato, over the top of the yellow. Really does have a nice look to it. So we'll have to. That's going to be one of those little gems that we just figured out. But I love the colors in the wings on that one. This is an order I took for, to redo these mugs, so I think they'll be happy with those. That looks nice. That was fired inside another piece. Yep, we got some red showing in that one. The tomato red does have some red showing in this piece. So it means that if you put them inside a saga in the gas kiln, it will still have a little bit of red. But it's not a lot. It could have been better. But that would have been better if we'd done a slow cool. Sorry, a fast cool and held at 1750. Look for my video on Randy's Red and you'll see the firing schedule. This one's nice. Just an oatmeal chicken. Wicked chicken. So protecting them from the flame, that tomato red in the gas kiln definitely has a much nicer color, because this was on a teapot that I think this one here. And now I'm really, well, it's not too bad. Maybe I won't refire the teapot because this is the one that had the nice color around it. So I think we're fine with that teapot. Pots. I think, gee, wonder what I probably trying to think what. I probably use the yellow oatmeal over the top of that green. And there's another one of those. These turned out nice. He's going to love those. And then this chicken turned out very nice. Nice red comb on this one. But look at this. I did it earlier. Perfect. Your hand is just naturally pouring. And then we got Tenriku gold on the bottom of that piece as well. This whole kiln had 15. Whew. Took a lot of space up. Nope, I can't reach that without taking. These are for coffee. Somebody ordered one of these to hold 5 cups of ground coffee. So I got 4 of these for them to pick from. This one is variegated blue. I did 2 different types of blues, so he can pick which one he wants. But I've got 4 of them for him to pick from. Whenever somebody orders something, I always make extras. Okay, I think we should leave that at that because there's a bunch of more of those cylinders. So basically, that was the kiln unloading, and it's the 15th, 16th of June. Nova Scotia is starting to open up. We've only had like last 5 days. It was like 8 cases, 10 cases, 8 cases, 8 cases, 4 cases, and then back up to 8 cases per day. So we're doing pretty good. They're going to start letting us open up, and the rest of Canada can come visit. starting mid-July, they're saying. So we have an Atlantic bubble for the next month, and then after that, if the cases continue at this rate, we will be open again to the rest of Canada, and they think to the USA by the fall. All right, so stay safe. It's getting better, and I get my second vaccine on June 29th. All right, thanks very much for joining me. Bye.